Sup? I haven't made a Honkai third Impact video in a little bit, mainly because I've just been playing the game, really. There's just been a lot to do between just the game and when you go to, let's say I've had to open up, let's see here. You know, you have to, you're constantly sharing links from things in game. So I've had to, you know, stay on top of this. And then you're also too, I had to stay on top of like any codes that have been going out. Looks like there's a anniversary rave. Looks like there's another code that's gone out. So let me copy that and make sure I get the crystals from that. And then, you know, checking their website or their Facebook page, really, for any post, for information. You know, because what they're doing with this update is that they're giving out a lot of freebies, but you have to pay attention. You know, it's all like all over the place. There's this in-game mini game you gotta play. You gotta share here, you gotta share there, you gotta check back and relook at the comments for codes and things like that. So I may even loaded up their website just so I could try to, you know, stay informed, just stay on top of all these things. So that's been very time consuming. Also too, like I said, just playing the game, making sure I'm going through all the events. You know, once upon a time in Shenzhou, you know, going through and making sure I accomplish these things in a timely fashion. You know, in other words, make sure I accomplish it when it becomes available. I've just been saving up my, auspicious gold and felicitous silver. I haven't spent any of it yet. Making sure I maintain steady progress on getting my Taishuan Steps Bridge theme. I heard someone pronounce Taishuan that way, so I'm going to say it that way. So I'm only 500 points away from getting it at this point. Anniversary spin bonuses. You know, stay on top of that to make sure I don't consume more crystals than I expected. Oh, I reloaded the game. Whenever I change the resolution on my phone without actually reloading the game, it will displace, you know, the little mini games, web apps. The Spring Feast, staying on top of that. Spring LTE, making sure I use that. Spring Prayers, again, the web app gonna get displaced. Let's see if it will even load. May not even load. I guess I'll just have to restart the game. You know, time capsule, trying to look in here, make sure there's nothing I'm overlooking or missing. They removed the weapons, so I was looking to do some salvaging. Login emblems. I guess what I'll do is I'll probably have to pause the video to reload the game because I don't want to show my login informations. Alright, I'm logging back into the game. So now, you know, if I go, also too, paying attention to these news, you know, talk about the Facebook event, login and bonus survey reminders, spring prayers, winning guides, and things like that, announcements, trying to stay on top of all these things. This stuff is happening everywhere. So now if I come back to these events, Spring Feast, Dish Prep, Full Tables, LTE, where was it? Was it Spring Prayers? See, now it will load. Or at least that's what, but as you can see, it's positioned properly. It's adjusted for the higher resolution. It's still not loading. Oh, there it goes. Staying on top of that with Flu Heart cards and sharing the link from that. Version bonuses, trying to stay on top of these things. It just requires a lot of attention. And really, at first, honestly, I was just playing the heck out of, holy crap, Hersher of Sentience. Hersher of Sentience. I mean, it was just, she's just a blast to play with. And right now, I've kind of taken a break because I'm working on her equipment. I did a whole bunch of stigma salvaging. So this way I could try to get pieces. I mean, at first I started mapping out a plan and that involved using Michelangelo. But when I began to realize that Michelangelo, it wasn't working. Like when I actually began to play with it, it works. It works for her initial attack when she goes into Hersher mode. That initial attack, it'll work because the buffs will last for 3 seconds. And because her skills, when she cast it, and for the first attack, it will stop time. This attack has 40% crit and temporarily suspends all skill timers for self and enemies and the stage timer. So at first, when before the character came out, I was trying to plan on what gear to build, and I heard that ultimate stops time, stops at this time. That's what they said, but they didn't really clarify. It wasn't really clear if it stops time for the it's not, I won't say abyss timer, but it stops the memorial arena timer. It wasn't really clear if it stopped time for the duration of her ultimate or just for, or for just a short period of it. It didn't really clarify. So I just made the assumption and just went with acquiring Michelangelo using the salvage stigma, stigma resonance from all the stuff I salvaged. And anytime when I was making summons to get her weapon, I salvaged the stigmas from that as well. And it's like getting back to what I'm trying to say, Michelangelo, it works for that initial attack where she suspends the timers, but after that, the buffs, they fall off, and there's no way to accumulate it. Even though she's doing combo attacks, it doesn't restack up, and that's where I get to the playing with her. Eventually led me to do a lot of testing. And right now, with my effort I'm kind of a little bit rambling a little bit, but in my effort at coming back to Honkai Impact the Third, I wanted to, there were some things I wanted to do differently. And so not only was gearing, trying to get, and once I became aware of Hersher's sentience, I wanted to try to get some equipment for her that would be more like free to play friendly. So that's what led me to trying out the Michelangelo, because I could get that with Stigma Resonance. And then also too, I wanted to do something for Night Squire. So I wanted to also try out Planck. Planck, again, says for every basic attack, which includes, for every basic attack, which includes combo and charge attacks, increases the physical damage by 50%. So essentially the theme is that for stigmas that say, basic attacks and then parentheses including charged and combo attacks, I never was really clear. I could never really find, if I searched the web, I couldn't really find a clear answer if it worked or not, the way I was expected to, mainly when they're doing their, when you cast their ultimate, because their ultimates, they do combo attacks. And so I couldn't really find it was clear as will this work when she's doing combo attacks under her ultimate or for her ultimate? And so that eventually, after I acquired those stigmas using Stigma Resonance, I went ahead and did testing, and I found out that they do not work in burst mode. So basically, any stigma if I go to the collection, any stigma in here that says, go to the 5-star, and I can go to Planck. Any stigma that says the host basic attacks, including charge attacks and combo attacks, when it says that basic attacks, then parentheses, including charge attacks and combo attacks, it just really means basic attacks. it won't, even though it says in parentheses charged and combo attacks, if those charged and combo attacks are occurring under a burst mode of some form or a Herscher form or something like that, there's a good chance that this stigma won't apply, because then that will no longer be, even though they're combo attacks or even a charge attack, because they're happening under a burst mode or Herscher form, they're considered burst mode attack or Herscher attacks or something like that. So this stigma won't trigger. And it's the same thing for Michelangelo. Every basic attack, it will trigger. Like the difference with the Michelangelo is that it will trigger and it lasts for 3 seconds. So even if you go into Herscher form or burst mode, you'll still have 3 seconds after you go into burst mode. In other words, after you stop doing basic attacks, you'll still have 3 seconds of the buff. So it allowed me to see some good damage for Herscher Sentient's first attack, but after that, all the damage just fell off. Let me see here. So, fortunately, I didn't find these things out until I got the stigmas, and I tried to, look in hindsight to say, was there any way I could have avoided, wasting stigma resonance on these? That was 3 stigmas that I used stigma resonance on. They're now gone. And I was like, is there any way I could have prevented this? And I was like, well, it was a learning experience because I never tested this before. I couldn't find any real information. And Planck, Michelangelo is a generation 2 stigma. And I believe Planck is a generation 1 stigma. And so having those 2 different stigmas to test with, it was like, okay, here's a generation 1, here's a generation 2, let me test it. Generation 2, you would think, okay, maybe they improved it, or took in more consideration of how it could be used. Who knows? So, but I had to test with both of them in order to be sure that whenever I see basic attacks, including charge attacks and combo attacks, that I knew what that meant. I had to test both. So there was no real way for me to find out that particular piece of knowledge without actually testing both. Because if I only had tested one or the other, I still would have questions about whether or not would Gen 2 be different or would Gen 1 be different. So after doing that testing, that prompted me to go ahead and buy another season of the BP. So this way I could get the Durac bottom piece. So that's what I'm working towards right now, just saving up to get the bottom piece for Durac from the Elite Works Vintage Stigmatas. Once I get that, then I'll have a complete set, or I'll be able to put together the, let's say, recommended set for Herscher of Sentience. So I'm kind of like, don't want to play with her yet until I'm able to put everything together. Now that I've done testing and I see how she's able to perform. Going back to Night Squire. On Night Squire, I used to have Ekaterina M as the mid stigmata, but again, after coming back to Honkai Impact 3rd and doing some of the Memorial Arena or the other challenging content, it's like these, especially Hoodoo. Oh my gosh, it's like these enemies, Hoodoo and Benares. These enemies for this endgame content, they're like all over the place. It's like almost impossible for you to keep a combo chain going unless you find some way to control them, to keep them still. But if you don't have that way, it's like you just can't keep your combo up. And with Ekaterina M, it's a very good stigma. It's a very good stigma. It provides, in other words, it provides a good damage buff. But the problem with Ekaterina M is that you have to exceed a combo hit count of 40 in order for it to kick in. And so I started, I don't know why, before I had like stopped playing for a while, I just never noticed it. It never really took time to thought about it or consider, is this really, like, how often is this stigma kicking in? And I started paying attention when I was doing, Jizzo, even on just like a B rank Jizzo bounty. And I was started noticing, and even when it was Jizzo was in the Memorial Arena once, and I started paying attention, I was like, holy crap, I'm like rarely ever getting my combo account above 40. So that means all this time when I'm attacking and I go to cast my ultimate when I get an opportunity, I'm like below 40 combo count, which means I'm not getting 40% damage, which means I'm not getting any type of buff. And so I wanted to move away from Ekaterina M, or basically my effort was to try to move away from stigmatas that are reliant on a high combo count. Because the fights, they're just not friendly towards a high combo count. You need a stigma that can kick in almost immediately, or after a few hits, it's ready, it's giving you the maximum potential of that stigma. So I wanted to move away from that, and I didn't want to invest too much into Night Squire. And initially, I didn't want to invest too much into Hershey Sentience, but Hershey Sentience, I think she's worth the best that I can get her. I'm not going to go crazy, but within a free-to-play affordable means, I found a way to, just by spending maybe like $20, get not only her stigma, her recommended stigmata pieces, but also to a whole bunch of other resources. So I feel like that's a fair use of real world money. $20 US, I should say. I think that's a fair use of real world money there. So, I guess that's pretty much it. For what's going on in the game. Just again following along, doing the once upon a time in Shinzao. You could say update content or anniversary content, and playing along with that, building the Valkyries in there, and just making sure I get everything. I guess I'm not really taking the time to do any real gameplay right now. I just kind of wanted to give an update. The one thing I was actually interested in doing is showing like the testing that I had did. So if I come here, this is where I recorded the tests. And this one is 12/204, 238. So I did the Planck first. So how I did the test was is it playing? Oh, it's playing. Oops, sorry. I came in, I built up my ultimate, and then to make sure there was no buffs or anything crazy active, I stopped attacking for a little bit, and then I activated my ultimate. And to try and find a point in the combat where it's the same, I waited until the boss lost its shield, and then I checked my like available ripple. So, and then I watched her fast kick attack with no ripple and the boss with no shield. And when I did this, as you can see there, I gotta skim back. When I do this, you can see the crits, 1050, and there's a 445 right there. So what I did was, okay, I see 1050, if I could stop moving, I see 1050 and 445 right there. So now that I was able to confirm that, what I then did is try to equip stigmatas that would give me a similar amount of attack, but no physical damage buffs. And that's what I did here. And let me see if I can't. Well, this time I didn't necessarily do it. I think when I did it the other time, how did I start it? I'm sorry, I'm looking at myself to see what I actually did there. And if I come back, oh, I'm sorry, I'm expecting to see something. Where is it? Oh, it just goes to load. Oh, I cut that part out. So the only thing I can do is come out and go to the part before I switch the stigma out. And see, all I had was Planck. So that's what I did. All I had was Planck. So what I did then was try to get another stigma on there that will give me a similar amount of tack, but with no physical buff. And so then what I did was I repeated the same process. I built up, whatever, the SP, waited until stopped attacking for a while, waited, and then cast my ultimate. And so when I start scrolling ahead, I waited till the boss had no shield left. I waited till I was attacking with no ripple. Then I looked at my crits. And as you can see, it says 448 and 1058. I think the Monet stigma had maybe like a 3 extra attack. So this was basically the way I was able to confirm if the stigmatas, Michelangelo and Planck, would work in burst mode, was by doing this comparison. Try to get back to that. I should probably try to use the pause feature. See, there it is. When she does her fast kick attack, I just need to remove it slowly. She has ripple. I have to wait till she has no ripple. And there it is, 448, 1058. You can see it right there, 448, 1058. And that was for Planck. And then I did the same thing with Michelangelo. So I got to the point where I could. Did I cast my ultimate? Gotta check. I just built it up. I stopped attacking for a while, so this way I could get back its shield. I run around for a while, so this way any buffs would go away. And then I just started attacking. And this is like Michelangelo. Again, I wait until I have no ripple left. I look at her fast kick attacks. She's doing 1189. If I can catch a non-crit, it's in there. 1189, 504. There it is. 504. That's 504, 1189. I had to go move my finger or scrub as slowly, as incrementally as I possibly could so I could catch those numbers. 504, see, 504 is hidden behind that. There is a way for me to catch it. See, you can see the 504 hidden in the background. And then I think it happens again. I did it twice. So I did it twice to be sure. And now the fast kick will come. There it is, 504, 1189. There it is. I could just, there it is. So that's how I did that. And then I moved along, and then this is where I had to make up the attack for having the Michelangelo. So I put the stigmas on that would give me the closest amount of attack. So you can see the stigmas that I went with. This is what I went with. None of those give me any type of attack bonus boost. But it doesn't give me like a physical percent damage boost, but it gives me the same amount of attack that I would have had if I was wearing the Michelangelo 2 pieces. So now I come back in and I do the same test. I wait until it has no shield. I do this twice. Wait, cast my ultimate, run around. There we go. I cast my ultimate there. I scrub. So I wait, and there it has no ultimate. Oh, I got hit. So I had to wait for it to recharge again. It interrupted me. I have no ripple, and there it is, 1184501. You can see it right there. 501 in the faded background, 1184. Let me try to... No. Sorry, someone came by. Let's see here. I'm looking. Trying to catch it. That's where I got disturbed. Where I got interrupted from my attack. So I had to wait for the shield to come back. Let me scrub back. All right, there we go. And this is, see, 1184. 1184501 right there. 1184501. So that's pretty much the same as the Michelangelo without the buffs active. So that's how I did my testing. Sorry for that. That took a lot longer than what I expected. But at least I did it at the end of the video. So this is where I spent a lot of my time going through, testing this, testing that, playing with this, playing with that, figuring things out, going through, trying to salvage this, salvage that, you know, trying to take crystals, make draws, or make supply drops here and there, hoping I get something I can salvage. You know, do these things, just doing this, going through this process repeatedly, looking for anything I can, you know, what is this? Like sell or convert, or refine or convert or sell, so I could get asteroid and mithril, so I could keep going to the shops to buy more resources, to try to get more stigma, to get whatever I need to be able to get more stigmata pieces. How I did that was just going through and just buying up all the what is this? What are these things called? Time swirl pass. So just going through and just buying up all those things and trying to do as many bounties as I could and all this other stuff. So because you could buy time swirl passes with asteroid. You can also too buy time swirl passes with whatchamacallit, battle pins, whatever, the gold pins. So you can also too get time swirl passes with time structures. So just trying to find every possible way I could get more of that whenever I ran out, or when I found out I needed more of this ether fuel or these coins. And just going through that process of just constantly scouring through the game, looking for every nook and cranny to get more resources. Just a very time consuming process. It's just very time consuming. And so that's what I've been doing. That's what's been going on. And this video is 30 minutes. It's a 30-minute video. You can watch it in its entirety, or you can just let it play in the background. But really, that's it. Just wanted to give an update of what's been going on and what I've been doing, and really the testing that I've done for myself, for my own personal knowledge. All right, that's it. Peace.